Welcome back to the podcast where we ask the question, what makes you happy? My name is Jake Pearson, and our guest today is a female executive coach who inspires females to rediscover their why and help them bounce back from burnout and imposter syndrome. Now, we've got Keely Woolley from a little island off Kent in the United Kingdom. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Jake, and thank you for inviting me.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today to talk about all things that make you happy. Tell me, what does make you happy, Keely?
So the one thing that makes me happy is seeing the light shine in the eyes of another female when they rediscover their why, that eureka moment, and that gives me joy. That's ultimately my aim every single day, see the light shine.
Lovely. So I have a really great question I want to ask you, and this is going to really apply to a lot of our female listeners, particularly some who may be executives and some who are just happy to be here. Now, one of these ladies approaches you and they're struggling with a similar situation that you've experienced in the workplace, whether they've been made redundant or in general, they're burnt out, they're stressed to the moon and back. What would you say to them there? What's that piece of advice you'd love for them to take away?
There's quite a few, actually. But one of the things that I know that I used to do, and it's now something I teach others, because it's really important for you to understand your patterns of behaviour and what triggers you to behave in certain ways. And until you sort of monitor those sort of things, then it's hard to sort of step away. But one of the things that I knew that I used to do as a female, because I was always trying to prove myself in front of all of the others, I didn't feel that I had a seat at the table, all those sort of limiting beliefs that you have. So I used to volunteer. I'd volunteer for all the time. And I know the guys used to sort of almost cross their arms and go, don't worry, she's going to volunteer in a second. So I was the one spinning all the plates, doing all the extra hours, working really, really super hard and all those kind of things, all because of my limiting beliefs in myself. And one of the things that I actually taught myself that I should have done is actually turn around and say, do you know what? When you're in that room and there is a task that is being asked to do, sit back, wait to find out who in that room is truly the right person to take that role. And then only volunteer if it's genuinely you. And then people won't start relying on you to be doing it, and then you're not going to be getting loaded up with activities to actually achieve. So I know it sounds a really simple thing, but it is something that I know I find with many, many female leaders that I work with, volunteering, because it needs to prove it. So.
Yeah, and I can see that becoming an easy behavior to fall into very quickly, because you almost feel like, all right, I've got to prove myself, in society, women always haven't had that position that they have had now, where they're able to step into those leadership roles a lot easier. And it's probably still not as easy, but it's easy to put the hand up and say, I'll do that, because you want to get ahead. But it is often the simple things, right, that make all the difference. It's not about doing all the complicated things to change our lifestyle. We don't have to go in deep water plunge and jump off a cliff and do all these things to really shake up our life and really understand who we are. It's setting simple boundaries, like you've said there, and just to take yourself back for a second and just actually really ask yourself, is this something that I genuinely want to do, before you go and overload yourself and end up in that burnt out position. Mm-hmm. Because I've put my hand up for so many things. I've said yes. Got to the end of December, I think maybe 2020, COVID. And I was like, whoa, I've taken on way too much here. I'm smacking my head on my desk. I'm nearly in tears. Because I said yes to too many things. And I'm sure there are plenty of females in executive positions or even in business that have done the same thing that you've experienced as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more.
I feel like we could go on and talk so much about the logical and the emotional parts of what drives our behavior. Yep. But that's all we have for today, Keely. Thank you so much for sharing all things that make you happy and giving us insight into your personal life and what you've experienced and how you're using that to help others rediscover their why and become happier as well. We really appreciate your time today.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope it gives you something to think about on your quest to discover what makes you happy. Make sure to check out whatmakesyouhappypodcast.com to connect with today's guest and follow us on all our social media platforms and to stay up to date at what's happening next at What Makes You Happy. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend, and we'll see you next time.